Hey there, my name is Phil. I'm a freelance artist, cartoonist, and caricature artist. Been doing this on and off for a good 25 to 30 years, give or take. I'm starting this video series to demonstrate the procedures that I go through in producing the work that I do. So hopefully in taking you through this procedure with me, maybe you can pick up a few tips and tricks that you can use yourself. What I do is not necessarily the rule, it's not the be-all and the end-all, but hopefully if you can pick up a few things that can help you in producing your work, then it's nice to know that you'll be taking something away from it. But I'm going to start off today by doing some simple warm-ups. These are just simple little scribbles and sketches and things that I do that I've been doing my whole life before I even start on a final piece. It's something I do to help me loosen up and feel more comfortable with the sheet of paper before I start putting something down that I want to be serious about. It is a procedure. You never just kind of jump into a final piece. But warming up is really important. Much like exercise, you want to try and warm up before you go into a main workout. And it's much the same with drawing. When I come out and I start jotting some ideas down, sometimes I don't just jump right into a final drawing. I actually start with a few preliminary sketches first. Even before that, I'll start doing just a few rough warm-ups that I'm going to be showing you today. So grab some scrap pieces of paper, not your good stuff. Save that for your finished piece. Grab some like really scrap sheets of paper, some cheap paper that you've got, your pencils, or maybe if you've got a tablet, you can use that too. Whatever you've got, pull it on open, and we're going to jump into this right now. Alright, so today I'm working with a tablet. I'm just going to use Sketchbook Pro, just because it gives me a nice wide open field without a lot being intrusive on it. Again, I'm using a tablet. You can use paper. Some demos later on I'll be using paper as well, but today it was just easier to set up for the tablet. Doing warm-ups. This is something I've been doing for a long time. Before I sit down to do any particular piece, I'll grab some scrap sheets of paper and I'll start just by doing some circles on them like this. And just as I'm doing here, overlapping it, it's nearly impossible to really make an absolutely perfect circle. You can get pretty darn close, but sometimes just to get a feel for the shapes, you need to break that fear of the white paper. And this is just a nice loose way to throw down something scribbles, but that's also kind of constructive. And you can do them any size. We'll do a large one here, and it's good to do that. You can start to see as well what your line is doing by doing this. And if you look at this, I can see already that my hand still pulls to the right direction like this because it's how I write. So it's something to be conscious of. You can sometimes flip your work. Here I can definitely see it more. I can definitely see that there's a pull through these circles to the what would be the upper right now is the upper left. But let's go back and we'll go with a blank sheet again and we'll go through this one more time. Alright, so let's start this again, but we'll try and be a little bit more conscious of it. Feeling sort of the center, the top of the circle at the top and the center of it at the bottom. You can see I'm way off here. I'm drawing on a glass screen. This does not have a matte finish, so it's very, even after I've been using this tablet for 2 years, it still feels very slippery sometimes to me. Again, we'll do some different sizes, do large, overlap them. I think it's important to kind of overlap them because this is kind of what happens when you go to do a drawing. And again, you're not going to make a perfect circle, but the idea is to keep going over it a few times until you start to see a perfect circle forming, or what you think to be a perfect circle, and just keep going over that a few times until it darkens. And let's try a few ovals. We're not animating anything. We're not doing squash and stretch. We're not doing bouncing balls, anything like that. My background is animation, so it's kind of a fallback to that kind of thing. And they're going to be messy. They're going to be really messy, and that's okay. That's actually better. Oop, that's way off. Look at that. All right, so fill a whole page like this, even a couple of pages if you want. Again, that's why you want to use some scrap sheets of paper, crappy paper that isn't that important. Maybe stuff that somebody's given to you and that's terrible quality paper. You don't want to pull out your good stuff for this. So let's go with another blank slate again. All right, here's another good little exercise you can do to help with controlling your line that you create. What I'm going to do here is going to look a little bit like perspective, but it's not. But you can see how it can come in helpful to perspective. So we're making this line here down the left side of the page, and let's put a dot on the center. Again, it kind of feels like the horizon line and your vanishing point, and it's going to look like it, but it's not kind of exactly what we're doing. So the idea I want to do is start a line to go out from the side through this spot and out to the edge of the paper. We're going to fan these lines out. So, and you're trying to make it as even as you can. And this one we're going to pull back the other direction. And now we're going to go out. Now as we go to the lower part of the drawing, it feels different down here. This is actually a little easier on a tablet than I think it is in paper. I think in paper it's a little more intimidating. Let's go back and we're going to do it from the right side now. Again, we're going to make this line right down the edge. No rulers. We can go over it a couple of times if you want. No rulers in this whatsoever. No cheating on a digital tablet. This is all freehand. Again, starting from the edge down here, through the spot, and out to the end. Now this is really awkward because my hand is covering where I want this to go, so I'm going to try and angle it down a bit. So you can see I'm not keeping it very straight at all. My hand's a little bit wobbly today, which is why I do this. This sort of gets you used to the motion. Whoops, sorry about that. A bit of creates muscle memory, if you will, in your hands. And if you want, you can do another one down the side here. We'll just overlap this, right? Another little spot. Let's start from up here this time. Oops, I should have done another one. And you'll see that as your hand moves from the top down to the bottom, it creates a different feeling. Your hand's doing something different. So this is something, again, that you can do that will help affect your line drawing when you go to work on a piece after. And you'll notice a difference after a while. You probably won't see huge differences right away. It'll be something gradual over time that as you do this more often, when you go to work on a drawing, you go, hey, this is starting to look a little bit better. It's starting to look a little bit tighter. It's because of exercises like this that will make a difference. Let's go with another one here. I'm going to do a third one. By the way, something I forgot to mention is your elbow. You want to keep your elbow up and your arm very loose, especially if you're working on a flat horizontal surface. Don't rest your arm on the paper. Try and keep your elbow and forearm up off the table and keep it really, really loose. I thought I'd add this in really quick just to emphasize my point about keeping your elbow up. Now I'm working on a tablet, so I'm working a little more horizontally, but you don't want to be resting like this. You don't want to be kind of leaning in as you're drawing, especially if you're doing your gestural stuff. If you're doing really tight work, I can understand. But when you're just doing a bunch of things that are very loose, you want to keep your arm up and away and your elbow up. And it's extremely important. It'll create a much more freer looking line and looser looking line. You want to avoid chicken scratches like this. If you start doing things like this, you're working too tight. You want to keep your line nice and loose. Your pencil should feel like it's an airplane landing as it comes down, lays a line down, and then lifts back up. Let me do that again. Just like this, right? And this is actually another exercise you can do is loops. Really simple, and you are going to pull sort of from the left to right, is doing like this. And try and change the pressure a little bit, whether with a pencil or on a tablet. Try and change the pressure a little bit as you're doing this. Really nice and easy. Now another thing you can do too is to try and see if you can do it backwards the other way. like this, the opposite way from what you would write. All right, and there's just 3 simple exercises you can do. Anytime you're sitting watching TV, maybe you're trying to get a little bit of inspiration and you don't know what to draw, pull out some sheets of paper and just do this as a bit of a warm-up and a bit of an exercise for yourself, and you'll notice that over time it will make a difference in your drawing. All right, and if you got something out of this, please by all means let me know. If you've sat through the whole video to the end, I really do appreciate it. And tell me down below if you've actually tried this and if it's actually made any difference in your work. Right? Thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see each other in another video. Cheers for now.